Hello, everyone. I am certified natural healthcare practitioner Erin Thole, and today what we are talking about is healthy lifestyle habits and like my top threes for a healthy lifestyle in 4 different categories. So we're going to talk about the panels that I think are absolutely vital for pretty much everyone to have to ensure that like foundationally we're taking care of your health and really hitting all of our bases. And then we're going to talk about diet, like just 3 basic things that are absolutely vital for a healthy lifestyle, a healthy body when it comes to diet. And then we're going to talk about supplements, and then we're going to talk about healthy habits. So let's start with the panel thing. So there are 3 foundational panels that I use in my practice. The genetic panel. The reason that I love this panel so much is because it really gives us insight into everything that the body is working with and basically the hand that you were dealt. So from a genetic standpoint, with all of your genes, you're going to have a copy of each from your mom and from your dad, 1 copy of each gene from each parent. You can have a good copy from each parent. You can have a bad copy from each parent, or you could have a good copy from one and a bad copy from another. All of these different variables really play into our health expression and whether we acquire certain conditions and illnesses or whether certain things affect us or don't affect us. So knowing this is really the most beneficial way, the most potent way to be proactive with your health. I had my genetic panel ran as an adult, and it really was eye-opening to me to a lot of different things in terms of like, oh, that's why this is happening, or oh, that's probably why my mom has this or my dad has that, or something like that. So it gave me insight not only to myself, but also to my parents, grandparents, things like that, even though I was only able to look at, like basically half of what they had because you get that 1 donation from each. But then with my kids, I did it when they were babies, when they were 5, 6 months old. And it was priceless. Like every parent should really do this panel for their kids if they can, because then you know what's coming down the pipe in terms of what food allergies they're susceptible to. Are they going to have celiac disease? Let's tackle that before it becomes an issue and their gastrointestinal tract is completely destroyed. Are they going to have issues with environmental sensitivities, mold issues, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, autoimmune conditions? What's it going to be like when they go through puberty? Like, do they have certain genetic SNPs that would make them more likely to become depressed or anxious when they go through puberty, or have estrogen dominance, which could then later on lead to other health conditions like breast cancer, prostate cancer, things like that. These are things that we can actually address. You can't change the gene, but you can manipulate the genes and give them a crutch so that they express themselves in a more positive way. So if someone genetically doesn't detox estrogen out an anti-inflammatory pathway, we can give them something like dim detox to correct that metabolic pathway so that they are detoxing out an inflammatory pathway. So that's just an example, a pretty important example, because breast cancer, prostate cancer, ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, all these hormonally based cancers are rampant right now. And so if we can look at the genetic factor, and not just like, do you have the breast cancer gene or not, but like, what does your body do with estrogen? Whether you're male or female, you have estrogen, your body's doing something with it. So that's one of kind of the biggest examples I use when it comes to a reason to do the genetic panel is, just likelihood of developing hormonally based cancers. Like, it's kind of a no-brainer. And then just kind of setting your kids up for health, and knowing, like, do they have a susceptibility to having low serotonin or low dopamine or something like that? Then as they become adolescents and teenagers and go through puberty and all of those things, if we start to see signs of different, issues, then we can supplement, We don't need to jump to antidepressants, anxiety medications, things like that. We can support the gene that's having an issue and give it that crutch so that it expresses itself in a more positive way instead of just putting a Band-Aid on it. So this is by far the most beneficial panel. The biggest gift you could give to yourself, to your children, in my professional and personal opinion, would be to do the genetic panel. Second panel would be the food sensitivity panel. We all eat food. We all have different ways of responding to that food depending on our health history, our genetic makeup, all these other things. So having that food sensitivity panel can be super beneficial just to know what jives with your body and what doesn't. Do you have gut syndrome? What macronutrients, your carbs, your proteins, and your fats are your 3 macronutrients? What do you and don't you digest? And then doing some enzyme therapy can help to correct, any issues that are there. Let's say you don't digest carbs well at all. We can do some enzyme therapy to kind of help that along. And then looking at your genetic panel, some of that is genetic. So the food sensitivity panel is really just foundational because the immune system and the gut are really one and the same. You can't separate them from each other. About 80% of your immune system is in your gut. So anything that's causing digestive inflammation is also causing immune imbalances and vice versa. Most of your hormones are made into their active form in your gut and in your liver. You have more of those feel-good hormones, your neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, all that stuff in your gut than you do in your head. So 99% of issues are stemming from the gut. So it makes sense to do food sensitivity panel to know what your body's working with, what works for you and what doesn't. And then the last panel, the third panel that is really foundational for me in my practice is the fatty acid panel, which you've heard me talk about a million times if you follow me at all. So this is really looking at cellular health, cellular function. Okay. So if that cell membrane is a car tire and nothing can get in and nothing can detox out, no matter what you do with your diet, this, that, and the other thing, if we have car tires for cells, eventually we're going to hit a wall. You can only go so far, and then you're going to be kind of like stuck in a plateau or a rut. So seeing where our omega-6 to 3 ratio is, which should be at 3-to-1 or less, and there's a ton of research on that. Optimal would be actually 1-to-1, but 3-to-1 or less, okay? The average American is at 25-to-1 or higher for their omega-6 to 3 ratio, which means the average American has car tires for cell membranes. So nutrients, medications, supplements, hormones, anything that's supposed to be getting into the cell and any kind of toxicity that's supposed to be getting out of the cell isn't doing it. So having that fatty acid panel done can really let us know what all of your fatty acids look like. So it's going to tell us literally every single essential fatty acid where you are. And then it's going to give us your ratios of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. It's going to let us know, what that cell membrane permeability looks like. It's also going to let us know, from like a brain and neurological standpoint, like where are you in terms of those brain nutrients? If your omega status is out of balance, your likelihood of heart attack and stroke goes up exponentially. This also plays a role into dementia and Alzheimer's because those fatty acids feed the brain. It also plays a role in for women with pregnancy, birth, and postpartum into mom brain, pregnancy brain, baby brain, postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis, like postpartum anxiety, anything like that. Your omega status is directly correlated to that. With kids and behavioral issues and focus in school, ability to learn, hyperactivity, mood swings, cycles when girls hit puberty and things like that, whether they have horrible cycles or not, it all comes down to your fatty acids, your joint health, your immune health, your digestive health. Everything comes down to your fatty acid status. So that is definitely one that we want to do. And it's just a simple at-home finger prick, drop it in the mail, you're good to go. So those are my 3 tests that are very foundational that I recommend across the board for everybody. If we were to talk about foods, my top 3 health foods that I think everybody needs to be incorporating into their diet would be the following: your fermented veggies. And in the notes below this video, I have my top brands for fermented veggies. You don't want just, your Clausen dill pickle off the shelf. Anything that's in the inner aisles of the grocery store is not going to have that beneficial bacteria. So we're using our fermented veggies in lieu of a probiotic. The reason for that is if I take a probiotic supplement, at best, I'm getting about 50 billion live active cultures in a variety of different bacteria. But I'm probably only getting like 5 to 10, if I'm lucky, different types of bacteria. There are hundreds of different types of bacteria that make up a healthy ecosystem of the gut. So if I'm continuously taking the same probiotic day in and day out that has these, 5 to 10 different strands of bacteria, I can eventually tip the scales in a different way in my gut and cause other issues with my digestion, bowel habits, things of that nature, even like histamine responses and things like that. So we want to make sure that we're having a diversity of bacteria and we're having an abundance of that bacteria going into the gut. So doing fermented veggies is a fantastic way to do that. Your pickles, sauerkraut, kimchi, but we, again, want to make sure that we're using quality brands. We're on the label. It's going to say things like contains live active cultures. It's a raw living food, raw probiotic, something to that extent. So Bubbie's, Wild Brine, Inner Eco, Farmhouse Cultures, and I have that all listed below this video in those notes. So fermented veggies are fantastic. If you have a histamine intolerance or a mast cell disorder, you might want to stay away from fermented veggies until we get that under control, and then you can introduce them in, and it's no problem at all. So that's my foods, or that's my fermented foods. Second food would be high quality meats. So these are your pasture raised, wild caught, grass fed, poultry, beef, bison, wild game, elk, venison, things of that nature, wild turkey, if that's your jam, things like that. And then our wild caught fish. We want to make sure that we're getting these quality animal proteins because they are vital to our health. There's a lot of propaganda out there right now that's really pushing for a plant-based diet, with research really honestly doesn't support that. Our bodies are made to consume meat. We've been eating meat since the beginning of time. A lot of times people don't digest protein very well, and they think that that means that they shouldn't eat meat. But what we really need to do is fix your digestive system and why you don't digest protein. That typically is a sign of leaky gut syndrome, stomach acid production problems, leaky gut, things of that nature. So we want to make sure that we're correcting an issue instead of just putting a Band-Aid on it by going plant-based, which for some people feels good for a period of time until it doesn't. Because, you take the meat out and you're like, oh, I feel so much better because I'm not digesting this heavy protein that my body can't digest for various reasons, which we could do in a whole different video. So I feel better. But then eventually your body is going to start to have major issues with the fact that it's not getting amino acids, the proteins, the building blocks of your body and your hormones that are needed. Animal protein is vital to your thyroid, your adrenals, just your hormonal production, and your liver health, all of that stuff. So it boils down to, if you're having different issues with, like, let's say cholesterol or blood pressure or heartburn, things like that, the solution is not to take out meat, figure out why your body can't break down protein in the first place, which is generally a pretty easy fix. And I do that with people all the time. So just shoot me an email and we'll book a consultation and figure out what's going on with you. But we want to make sure that we're having quality animal products, from those sources that I listed, the grass-fed, pasture-raised, wild caught fish and things of that nature, so that we're not polluting our body with all of these extra nasty toxins, chemicals, medications, all kinds of just like genetically modified nonsense and disgusting garbage that is fed to conventionally raised animals these days. Um, Plus, those animals are insanely unhealthy, and often contain a lot of cancer and disease and antibiotics and all kinds of things like that. And their stress hormones are through the roof from the abuse that they endure. And so, you eat what your food eats. So if your food is eating, enormous amount of antibiotics and all kinds of other different types of medications and inappropriate diet. They're eating genetically modified soy and corn and all this other stuff. Like, then you're eating that. Like, that's not good for you either. So we want to make sure that we're going to those quality sources of meat. And then produce. Just go to the produce section and pick out some colorful things. Not all veggies work well for a lot of people, because of genetics, because of ecosystem imbalance in the gut, things like that. So if cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, that stuff makes you gassy, makes you bloated, it just doesn't sit well with you, it makes you lethargic, don't eat it. Like, you don't have to eat broccoli. Find other things that work well for you. Easy produce to digest would be fruits, and then things like carrots, sweet potatoes, zucchini, avocado for those healthy fats and all that good stuff. So find out what produce jives well with your body, and that's something that I help people figure out all the time. And then go from there. So you don't have to eat salad. Um, raw fruits, or I'm sorry, raw veggies, especially a lot of that roughage, like the salad and things like that. For a lot of people, it doesn't do well at all. If they have digestive issues, they tend to bloat or have any kind of like digestive irritants or irritations or anything like that, ecosystem imbalance. A lot of times raw stuff just doesn't do well. It doesn't sit well. So you don't have to eat salad and then, have diarrhea or bloating, gas, or, whatever it is later on. That's not healthy for you then. We need to figure out something else. So in that case, doing a lot of roasted veggies and soup, stews, butternut squash soup, or something like that would be beneficial. So those are my top 3 foods. And then if we go to supplements, again, below in the notes, there is my full script link where you can get the top 2 that I'm recommending. And then I also have a Zinzino link where you can get the balance oil that I'm going to talk about. So digestive enzyme, number 1, because so many people cannot break down their food. Enzymes are essential for digesting and assimilating the nutrients from your food. They also help control inflammation. They help with hormone production. They help control the ecosystem of the gut, break down proteins or carbs or fats, all of that good stuff. A lot of times people are like taking just insane amounts of supplements and multivitamins and all this other nonsense. They're not taking an enzyme. They can't digest anything. They can't break anything down. So having that enzyme is foundational. It's way more important than having a multivitamin. If you can't break down your multivitamin, you can't break down your food, then what? So get that enzyme in, get a full spectrum enzyme in, like the US Enzymes Digestxym is the one that I recommend. It's the one that I love, that I use myself. And then Seeking Health has a really great vitamin D3 plus K2. You want those 2 things together. Otherwise, your vitamin D is not going to work well at all in your body. So we want to make sure that we have a balanced amount of vitamin D3. I see a lot of panels come from general practitioners and medical doctors and things of that nature, where they're listing people as normal or healthy for their vitamin D level, and their vitamin D is at like 5 or 40 or something like that. That's not a healthy level of vitamin D. It needs to be at 65 or higher for healthy brain function, immune function, thyroid function, cellular function, all that good stuff. You have vitamin D receptors on every single cell in your body. That's how important it is to your body, that you're, acquiring and utilizing that nutrient for literally just cellular health. And then lastly would be the balance oil from Zinzino, which is your fish oil, high polyphenol organic olive oil combination. So why this is superior to any other standard fish oil on the market is this. When a fish is swimming around in the ocean, happy, healthy, eating all its algae and plant matter and things like that, that's what makes the omega-3s, is the algae, okay? So when a standard fish oil is made, they're taking the fish, extracting that omega-3 fatty acid from the fish, slapping in a capsule and calling it a day. Put fillers in there, all that fun stuff. 99% of those supplements are rancid before you even get the bottle home and open it. And that's because there's nothing there. The polyphenols that come from the algae and the plant matter, things like that the fish eat, that's what preserves the omega-3s. Okay, it makes the fish healthy. It gives that fish its antioxidant value, so it's a healthy little creature. So if we just extract the fatty acid and we ditch the rest, don't have that thing there that makes the thing that we need, the omega-3, work. We don't have the thing that catapults it forward and gets it into your cells and makes it work in your body. That's been thrown away. So what Zinzino has done is they've made the balance oil work like eating fatty fish. Okay, so nobody eats enough wild caught fatty fish anymore. Nobody does, which is why we have such a skewed omega-6 to 3 ratio. So having that balanced oil where it's 60% omega-3 fatty acid from wild caught small fish and 40% are organic high polyphenol olive oil, that combination together, that high polyphenol content of the olive oil is preserving the omega-3 content from the fish oil, and you're getting the benefits of the polyphenols, and you're getting the benefits of the healthy fats from the olive oil on top of the omega-3 that you're getting from that balanced oil. So this oil is scientifically proven to get people into balance with their omega-6 to 3 ratio within 3 months. That's what we're shooting for. So again, my link for Zinzino is below, so you can order your fatty acid test and they send you a bottle of oil at the same time for that. Lastly, healthy habits. So we can do all the testing in the world. We can take our supplements. We can take, our eat our healthy diet and things of that nature. But if the rest of our lifestyle is chaos, we're not sleeping, we're not managing our stress, we're not moving our body, we're going to have some major issues. So my top, I will actually say 4, now that I'm thinking about it, healthy habit things would be moving your body, drinking half of your body weight in ounces of water a day. That's vital to cellular health, digestion, immune health, your skin health, joints, brain function, literally everything. So we want to make sure that we're drinking that water, half your body weight in ounces of water a day, and then moving your body. Okay. So I don't care what you do. Okay. So if walking is your jam, riding a bike, running, yoga, Pilates, CrossFit, powerlifting, HIIT workouts, Orange Theory, working out with a personal trainer, spin classes, whatever, I don't care. Just do something. Move your body. If you don't have to have a gym membership. You have 10 minutes a day. You can set a timer for 10 minutes and you can do 10 minutes of constant movement. There's a lot of workouts, just body weight stuff that you can look up online like that. So see how many burpees you can do in 10 minutes. That's fun. See how many times you can do 10 push-ups and 10 air squats in 10 minutes. How many rounds of that can you do? Take that time to move your body, get your heart rate up, get that lymphatic system flowing so that your body can detox appropriately and your brain, feels good. We're turning on those endorphins and getting that blood flowing, and you're just going to feel a million times better just even moving for those 10 minutes. So do something. Next would be sleep. So many times sleep is put on the back burner. We live in a culture where productivity is king. So if I'm not doing something every second of the day, that falls into that productive category. I'm not stressed to the gills, running around like a chicken with my head cut off, have a million things on my to-do list, then I must be lazy. You know, people are cutting down their sleep and they're like, I only sleep 4 hours a night. Look at all the stuff I get done. Yeah, until your immune system completely tanks, you have depression, anxiety, your hormones completely tank. You can't, keep weight off because your cortisol levels are through the roof. You need sleep. That is how your body recharges its battery. That's how your brain recharges. When your body wants to rest, restore, digest, just balance itself out and keep those main functions running. And it can't do that if you're not sleeping. Your hormones are going to be all jacked up and all over the place. So make sure that you're getting that quality sleep. We want to be sleeping in pitch black darkness. Okay. So no TV, no outside lights, no, blinking, anything like that. We want to have those blackout shades and darkness, dark, dark, dark. Your pineal gland in your brain is governed by light and dark, and that regulates your circadian rhythm. So that's really vital to our energy levels, our sleep, all of that good stuff. You want to make sure that you have a calming bedtime routine, so we don't want to be like watching Dateline right before we go to bed or anything like that, So make sure that you're doing something home for at least 30 minutes or so before you go to bed. Stretching, breath work, journaling, you know doing some meditation, prayer, if that's your jam, whatever it is that's like calming and soothing. Reading a nice book, something like that. Also with sleep, we want to make sure that we are not looking at a blue screen within like 2 hours of going to bed. So your cell phone, tablets, computer, anything like that. If you are doing those things, then get those blue light blocking, really spiffy glasses that help to just negate the effects of that blue light, because it's really a neurological and a brain stimulant, and it's been proven to keep you up and disturb your sleep and things like that. So we want to make sure that if we are using our screens before bed, which a lot of people do, and whatever, that's fine, just make sure that you're using those blue light blocking glasses. Pretty sure you can get them on Amazon. They're not going to break the bank or anything like that. And then last but not least, we want to make sure that we're managing stress and we're also dealing with trauma. So everyone, to some extent, some degree or another, has some kind of trauma that kind of is triggering to them in different ways or holds them back in certain ways, or just, adds to their anxiety level and their imbalance in their nervous system and their hormones, whether it's, blatantly obvious to you or not. We all have those things and have certain patterns and tics and triggers and things like that we really want to deal with and unload. So some of my favorite things for stress management, and just kind of helping to make sure that we're living a balanced, lifestyle and keeping our emotions happy and healthy and balanced. Not meaning that you have to be like sunshine and rainbows 24/7, because that's not real life. Like, anger is a normal emotion to have. Disappointment, frustration, irritation, like these are all healthy, normal emotions. But if you're like flying off the handle or overreacting, and then you're like, oh man, why did I say that? Why did I do that? What's wrong with me? These are all signs and symptoms that our nervous system needs regulation. Our, adrenals might be out of whack, and we have some, cellular trauma, memories, experiences, things like that need to be dealt with. So meditation, prayer, very, very good for that type of thing. One of my favorite things is like somatic healing breath work. And below in the notes, I have 2 different practitioners that I recommend for, like, if you want to go through like a whole gamut kind of program, like if you're working through some really heavy stuff and you want someone to kind of like guide you through a program to help like uproot all that trauma, process, heal, all of that good stuff. Alice Mae Redmond, and then Britley Williams, who I actually had on my YouTube channel a couple months back to talk about breath work and how that can help to, uproot trauma and heal and just like move forward in a more positive way with your life. So I have their contact information in the notes. You can also, just in YouTube, look up like somatic healing breath work, and a million different topics will pop up for stress management, for sleep, for anxiety, for depression, for weight, for traumatic experiences. A million different topics like will fall under that. So you can get some breath work for free. I really like the programs like with Alice May and things like that because it's the breath work, it's journaling exercises, and that are prompted by a meditation. So you'll do your meditation that's guided with her, and then there's different prompts for the journal to help you unpack and unwind some of the different blocks that you have due to trauma and life experiences and things like that. So childhood stuff, all that fun stuff. So I really like that model. I've done a couple of programs with her and just loved it. It is priceless work. You learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about others in your life, your family, patterns, things like that. So it was really, really helpful and eye-opening for me. And I continue to go back to that work and repeat different exercises and journaling prompts and meditations that were, really beneficial and like resonated for me. So I highly recommend looking into that for sure. If anything else, just doing the breath work, sitting and just doing 2 minutes of deep belly breathing, not this upper chest kind of thing that so many people do. We want to be breathing nice and slow, full expansion of the diaphragm and belly button going out, and then collapse with the exhale. Nice and slow, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out for like 2 minutes, a couple times a day. Even that will just do wonders. Great thing to do right before you go to bed with your, calm down nighttime routine, your peaceful little bedtime routine. So those are my top threes for everything for a healthy lifestyle. So I hope that this gave you some good tools. You got something out of it. If you want to book that free consultation, you can go to my website, erinthole.com. Link is also below in the notes. Or you can just email me at thole.erin@gmail.com, also below in the notes. And we can set up that free consultation and really get you to where you want to be, do the panels, that you want to do, all of that good stuff. So until next time, see you later.